Hi folks, so quick look at triangles today, and I've got quite a nice little Hodgman experiment, I guess, or a little piece of kind of hands-on practice to help us calculate the area of a triangle. Okay, so first of all, just chop out two identical triangles. That's what I've got here. I've just printed out two identical triangles. Now, if you don't have a printer, don't worry, draw a triangle. I've used a right angle triangle because it's the easiest way to do this. You can do it with any type of triangle, but in this situation the right angle triangle is quite nice to work with. So just draw a triangle and then cut it out and trace around it and cut that one out, and you've got two identical triangles. So you don't need to have a printer, it will still work. Okay, so there we are, last piece chopped off. So there we are, two identical triangles. Okay, look, pop them on top of each other just like that. So, to calculate the area of a triangle. Now, the nice thing about this, I really enjoy this experiment because it connects with so many other things in maths. If I put these two identical triangles, that means they're exactly the same, together, I can actually arrange them to make a rectangle. Now, that possibly could be a square. I don't know the measurements of these triangles. I've just made two triangles. But a rectangle at the very least. And the lovely thing that we know in maths, and you guys have done this already, is that the area of a rectangle, in fact, let me just pop this on here, look, and then I can write around it. There we are. Okay, so the area of a rectangle is the base times multiplied, should I say, by the height. Okay, so that's area of a rectangle is base multiplied by height. Now, I mean, you might call this width and length, something like that. That's fine. Use whichever terminology you really want to, but it's one side multiplied by the side next to it. Okay, and that's going to give us the area of a rectangle. Now, that would give us the area of this rectangle, but we're looking for one of the triangles. So have a careful think, but I'm hoping you can probably spot what we're going to do. We're going to find so let me write it out here, area of a triangle. So we're going to find the area of the rectangle, which we know is base times height, and I'm just going to omit that multiplication sign because we don't really need to write that when we're working with algebra. A little bit neater, and we only want half of it, don't we? Okay, because there's two exactly the same, so if I divide it by 2, I'm going to get this area here. Okay, if I times that area by 2, I'd get back to the whole rectangle. Okay, so that's why the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Okay, because we're dividing it by 2 to find one half of it. And that's just a quick walkthrough about how it works, because sometimes we're told these formulae in schools and we don't necessarily understand how or why they work. Sometimes you might have seen area of a triangle written like this, half base times height. Okay, you might have seen that. Now these are exactly the same. These two things are the same, because to times something by a half, which is what you're doing here, is the same as to divide it by 2. Okay, those are the same action. I personally prefer this one because if you ever need to rearrange this when you're getting a little bit further through school, this is much easier to work with than this one. Okay, but whichever one you're most comfortable with, whichever one makes more sense to you from the diagram that we've worked with here, okay, keep with that. Right, thanks folks. There's a couple more of these coming up. We've got areas of parallelograms and areas of trapeziums coming up as well.